views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Bronx Film Wednesdays. This is our 21 Islands International Short Film Fest award show presented by Pregones Puerto Rican Traveling Theater and BronxNet. I'm your host, Sonji Lopez. I'm accompanied here by Melissa Ramos, the director and lead curator of 21 Islands International Short Film Fest. Without further ado, let's get this award show started.
Thank you to the 21 Islands International Short Film Festival. I wrote this short film as a hate letter to all mankind. I hate everyone, but now I know you love me, I love you too. So you made this grumpy old man very happy, and I'm thankful for that. Thanks to director and producer Che de Reyes for keeping the faith. And that's it. I'm very happy. Besos y hasta pronto.
No, así no. Así no. Así no. Calma. Calma.
¿Por qué has tardado tanto?
¿Estás enfadado?
No, pero sabes que a partir de hoy es mejor que tengamos cuidado.
Necesitaba verte. Es que esta mañana, cuando te viene el juzgado...
Pero qué ex más guapa que tengo. ¿Y esto? ¿Qué te has puesto en los pies?
Sí, es que ya me he acostumbrado a conducir sin tacones.
Si en la Lore de antes la viera salir de casa sin tacones, pensaría, esta está tramando algo. Siempre me gustó lo pija que eres.
¿Por eso te casaste conmigo?
Sí.
Y te divorciaste.
Cariño, ¿ya hemos hablado de eso?
Eso es muy duro para mí.
¿Qué te dijo tu madre?
¿Cómo que mi madre?
Sí, bueno, no sé, vives con ella, ¿no? Algo te habrá dicho.
No te preocupes, está bien.
Vale, perdona, Lore. Como siempre dices lo duro que se te hace vivir con ella, que siempre
Bueno,
te
ya
pregunta,
está.
que...
No quiero hablar más de mi madre ahora.
Vale, que tú digas. por qué hemos venido aquí?
Ya sabes que este lugar me trae buenos recuerdos.
Sí, nos trae buenos recuerdos. Algún día le diremos a Martín que le conté bien. Cariño, ¿estás bien? ¿Qué pasa? A ver, sé que esto es duro para Martín y para ti, pero se resolverá pronto. No tienen nada. La causa se archivará y volveremos a estar juntos. Mira, el juez te asignará una pensión. Al divorciarnos, tú tienes tu parte. Puedes vender alguna propiedad y conseguir algo de dinero.
No queda nada, está todo embargado.
Cariño, escúchame. No te preocupes por nada, ¿vale?
¿Es verdad lo que dice la prensa? ¿No tienes más dinero fuera?
Cuanto menos sepas mejor, en serio.
No, si estoy metida en esto tienes que decirme la verdad. ¡Dime la verdad!
Lorena, es mejor que no te diga nada.
No.
Espera. Me estás grabando.
¿Qué?
Es eso, ¿no?
¿Qué dice?
Me estás grabando, llevas un micro. Me
¿Qué
estás
coño
grabando.
dices? ¿Un micro yo?
Estás nerviosa. Estás
Pues
rara.
claro que estoy nerviosa, joder. Llevamos meses con los teléfonos pinchados y la policía anda por culo.
No. A ti te pasa algo más. Te conozco perfectamente. Dime qué está pasando. ¿Qué está pasando?
Hoy han venido a casa, José.
¡Joder! ¡Me cago en la puta!
José, tienes que calmarte,
¡Pelos de
cálmate.
mierda! ¡Se van a cagar! Les voy a-
José, por favor, es importante que me escuche.
No importa lo que te hayan dicho, ¿vale? No importa lo que te hayan dicho, de verdad.
Ahora todo tiene sentido. Si es que todo el mundo me lo decía, yo no quería
¿Todo el
creerlo.
mundo? ¿Sabes qué? Que en este país, cuando alguien triunfa, todo el mundo quiere hundirte. En cuanto sacas la cabeza, siempre hay un hijo de puta que
¡Deja de
intenta...
repetir esa mierda! Han venido a casa, José. ¿En qué coño nos has metido, cabrón?
Mira, Lorena, no me juzgues, ¿eh? No me juzgues. Lo que he hecho lo he hecho por los dos y lo sabes. ¿Qué creías que pagaba esa casa? ¿Eh? ¿Y tus coches? ¿Eh? ¿Y tu puto negocio de cupcakes? ¿Qué? ¿Eh? ¿Qué creías? ¿Que mi sueldo de concejal pagaba todo eso? ¿O qué? ¿Eh? No me jodas. Escúchame. Esos putos maderos se inventarían cualquier cosa. Falsifican documentos para conseguir lo que quieren. ¿Qué es esto? ¿Qué te pasa?
No es la policía, José. Son tus socios. Tus socios están en casa, tienen a Martín. Van a matar a nuestro hijo.
No es verdad. Lo dices para asustarme.
No, va muy en serio. Han matado a mi madre, José. La han matado delante de mí. Solo para demostrar que iban en serio. Iban a hacer lo mismo con Martín.
¡Nadie juegue con nuestro puto dinero!
¡Dios!
Tenemos poco tiempo. Cógela. Cógela. ¡Cógela! Quieren que se queden tus huellas, José. Para que parezca que tú disparaste a mamá. Y quieren que te tires. Que te quites de en medio. Dicen que sabes demasiado y que ya no pueden confiar en ti.
Pero tú te das cuenta de lo que me estás diciendo. Que me mate así sin más.
Hazlo por tu hijo. Ya no nos queda tiempo. Si lo hace, le dejarán vivir.
No tiene sentido. Hablaré con ellos. Podremos solucionarlo.
¿Pero tú te crees que puedes salir de esta negociando?
¡Siénteles, joder! La policía nos ayudará. Están deseando tener algo para ir contra ellos.
Tengo que mandarles un vídeo.
¿Un qué?
Un puto vídeo de tu cadáver. Si llamo, si mando cualquier otra cosa, matarán a Martín. Yo lo siento. Lo siento, lo siento, lo siento.
Lorena, Dile a Martín que siempre le querré.
Se lo digo.
Espera. ¿Por qué no matarnos a todos y ya está?
¿Qué coño estás hablando?
¿Por qué van a matar solo a tu madre?
¿Y yo qué sé qué piensa la puta mafia croata?
No son croatas, son serbios.
En la tele dice que son croatas.
En la tele no tienen ni puta idea. Como tampoco la tienes tú. ¿Sabes qué creo? Que has tenido una discusión con tu madre.
¿Pero tú te estás oyendo?
¿Has discutido con tu madre? ¿La has disparado? ¿Y ahora quieres cargarme el muerto? ¿A mí?
Es que eres capaz de inventarte cualquier cosa. ¡Tú nos metiste en esto!
Mira, bonita, no me voy a tirar por un risco porque lo digas tú. Tiene que haber alguien con quien pueda hablar. Tengo que ganar tiempo.
¡Martín! ¡Martín! ¡Ah! ¡Martín! ¡Lo han matado! ¡Martín! ¡Lo han matado! ¡Lo han matado!
¡No!
I firstly just wanted to give my gratitude for officially selecting my project for the 21 Islands International Short Film Festival, and I'm super ecstatic and grateful to have been selected for Best Editing this year. When I set out on this journey for this documentary, I didn't really have that much filmmaking experience within the realm of environmental filmmaking and documentary work, so this was a first for me. So it's very reaffirming to have been selected and to have been awarded at this festival.
What is threatening the forage fish in our ocean is simply unlimited greed. It's unlimited, the idea that we have to grab and to reduce, to turn into product everything that is there. And we do this without much reflection. For example, in BC, The herring is turned into fish meal, into food pellets for the aquaculture industry, though far more jobs are maintained by the whale watching industry, by the tourist industry in general. So it is, one could say even stupid, to think of them as a product without thinking of the services that they can render for us.
If you think of a food web or a food chain, there's the bottom of the web, which is the plankton, so zooplankton and phytoplankton, and that is the food for everything up higher up on the chain. So the next stage up on the chain would be the forage fish.
The whales, the sea lions, the large salmon cannot feed directly on small plankton, but they can feed on forage fish. You have lots of plankton, different species or different types, and you have lots of large predators, and you have only a few forage fish a few species of forage fish that are crucial to transforming this bounty into something that the upper trophic level can eat, the large predators.
Well, you know, I'm certainly not a biologist or scientist, but the ones I've talked to say it's the bedrock, you know, of our ecosystem. You know, without forage fish, I mean, we know just when it comes to herring, for example, its primary diet for Chinook, lingcod, halibut, our shorebirds, humpback whales, northern southern resident killer whales all have herring as a keystone part of their diet. So without herring, it's going to have a huge impact on our whole ecosystem.
What's interesting is that for some forage fish, we have really good data that numbers are declining. Things like herring. We have other forage fish where we actually don't know how many we have. We don't know the principle of the bank account. And so if you want to make withdrawals out of a bank account, you better know how much you have in there as principals. A surf smelt, for example, we need to know what's the biomass out there and what can we withdraw at a safe level. Say herring, we may want to stop some harvest that's going on. For other ones, we may want to protect all of the beaches where they know where they're spawning and take care of those beaches, because we know if they don't reproduce, we're not going to have them in future years. So there's a whole bunch of different things, and that's what makes it challenging. Sometimes we want just one simple solution.
So Project Watershed is a nonprofit stewardship society located here in the Comox Valley. Project Watershed recently started a 3-year forage fish research project, and kind of the overarching goal of this project is to identify key forage fish habitats in the northern Salish Sea. So we're trying to identify spawning habitats, bearing habitats, as well as kind of hotspots of forage fish feeding activity, so that we can identify these areas and map them out and then use those and kind of that information in conservation and management decisions. So citizen scientists are community members who are interested in contributing to scientific research, and they're really essential for helping projects like our Forage Fish project, helping us collect meaningful scientific data to help move forward our research program.
First, we have to sort of figure out where the suitable sediment is on that particular day, because it changes a lot actually. Some things will change depending on the tide and depending on the weather, because it's bias sampling. So once we've figured out the best place, the place that's most likely for the Pacific sand lance to have laid their eggs, then we set up a 30-meter transect. And then we start to collect our sample.
So after we collect the samples from the beach, we bring them back to the office, typically is where we set up this system. And what it is, it's essentially kind of a reverse gold panning system. So instead of trying to extract the large heavy material, we want to extract the light material, because the light material in our sample is what the eggs will likely be attached to. So it's essentially kind of like a spinning bucket of water, and we slowly put our sample into it. And as the water spins, the lightest material comes out and goes through a hole in the middle and ends up in a sieve at the bottom. That's where the eggs would be if they were present. In order to identify the eggs, you need to look at them under the microscope. The eggs are so small, they are attached to either a single grain of sand, if they're a surf smelt egg, or have multiple grains of sand attached to them, if they're a Pacific sand lance egg. So when we bring them back to the lab, we need those microscopes in order to tell what species they are and be able to count how many eggs there are in a sample.
So basically when we get our field sample, we just want to take a little bit, put it in a petri dish, and then we usually add some water or just use some of the ethanol that's already in solution. Without the water, it makes everything almost impossible to see under the microscope. You want to just shake it into a nice smooth layer, then put it on the microscope. And usually you start on one side and you just keep track of what you've done, and then just keep rotating, work through the sample looking for a nice round egg. Sometimes they float. It can take a while sometimes, but you definitely get used to it and it goes faster. And just do a nice circular motion so you cover the whole plate.
So one of the big kind of research and data gaps that we have in the Northern Salish Sea is that we don't really know where these important habitats are for forage fish. So there's kind of a general lack of information on the location and timing of spawning events for Pacific sand lance and surf smelt. And a lot of great work has been done over the past few years, but we're really trying to hone in and create maps that show the timing and location of these habitats so that we can better protect and restore these species.
Primarily the issues we're concerned about with spawning is what's happening to the beaches. So things like herring who go near shore to spawn, things like surf smelt, things like sand lance, when they're going into a beach and they're laying their eggs on that beach, if we don't take care of that beach, then they're not going to have a place to go. The concept that's difficult for people is if you lose one small beach, that's not a big deal. There's a lot of other beaches. But if we don't have a systematic way to protect and take care of these beaches, ultimately it will be the death by 1,000 cuts because we're going to lose all of this critical spawning habitat.
Often we get a little bit too focused on sort of higher up in the food chain or the larger species, and not always do we look at, okay, these kind of little forage fish that nobody really pays attention to, but now once we started looking at something we do care a lot about, like the salmon population, it's like, oh, okay, what might be going on?
We're here on Denman Island. Are the communities of Hornby and Denman Island are coming out to strongly support the herring movement to let the herring live. 4 out of the 5 North Pacific herring runs have crashed, and we're here to create a flotilla in Lambert Channel at the northern tip of the Salish Sea to show the rest of Canada and British Columbia and coastal people that this has to stop. There has to be an end to the commercial fisheries and protect this keystone species.
Let the herring live! Let the herring live! Let the herring live!
Imagine if you have a fishery such as we have in the Strait of Georgia that is relentless and a big fishery, then it can reduce it to nothing. And at that point, the stock might not recover or will need decades to recover, and that happens because the small fish, they are protected by schooling, but if there are not many of them, they cannot form schools. So the fact that they are easy to catch is not a reason to catch them.
If we continue to see declines in forage fish, I think we're just going to keep seeing impacts higher and higher up the food chain, and more species aren't going to have very much to eat. There's going to be less fish for us to eat, and the whole marine food web will kind of collapse.
There's so many things that eat the forage fish, so you can imagine if that population of organisms somehow declines or is unhealthy, that population, everything above it is going to suffer.
Well, I think the whole ecosystem is really at stake when you think about that. If you have a species like forage fish that takes plankton, converts it into nutrients that other animals can use, and that disappears, well, you're going to have a whole shrinkage of the ecosystem overall.
We have to look at what the value is of keeping that fish in the water for those higher value fisheries like salmon or tour operators that depend on, reliable northern and southern resident killer whales. And then, of course, the right thing to do, maintaining that we protect those ecosystem species that don't have a voice. That's our role as leaders and as community members. And without our ecosystem, we don't have an economy. We're coastal communities. Our fish is our food security, it's our economy, it's our culture, it's our way of life. So when you take out the fundamental bedrock species, you don't have an economy.
My hopes for the future of our oceans is that we think about how our actions and how the decisions that we make impact the whole ecosystem as a whole. And we're not just thinking about one species or one fishery. We're thinking about how everything is connected and how the decisions that we make on the ground impact the whole food webs.
Well, if we don't take action now, I'm really concerned about the fate of our oceans. We have a big battle. We're seeing acidification of our ocean, warming oceans. They're under immense threat, whether it be transportation, pollution, the impact of previous overfishing, and certainly right now when it comes to some species, the threat of species that are near extinction or threatened for extinction. We're seeing runs vanish right before our eyes here on the coast. We just had the lowest return in recorded history of the Fraser River sockeye. We saw runs get decimated in the Skeena, in Clayoquot. And I don't know what it's going to take for the federal government to sound the alarm bells and to invest in coastal restoration, in habitat protection, into climate adaptation and mitigation strategies. But we need the government to come up with an emergency package for coastal British Columbia to conserve and protect our delicate ecosystem where everything is interconnected. So we're calling on the government to do that. And if we don't get that, I'm very worried about the future of our sensitive ecosystem.
The predator that depend on this fish will themselves be endangered. So the herring and all these animals that contribute to beautiful British Columbia will be gone. And then we can shorten the thing to British Columbia, because the beautiful part will not be there.
First of all, thanks for the recognition to this film. It's really encouraged me to keep animating, and I'm going to give the honor to all the crew members. Thanks for supporting me, although most of us were separated in this COVID situation. It's been tough these 2 years, but with internet we can still share our works to the world. Hopefully we can meet someday in the theater and talk to each other in person. Yeah, thanks again, 21 Islands.
Thank you very much to 21 Isla International Short Film Festival for this award for my film Hello for best cinematography. It's a great pleasure just because this film is dedicated to all artists and all the struggle that we go through when we create something. Thank you to Alexander Gonzalez, which is my director of photography. I'm sure he's very happy. And thank you so much because for me, cinematography is one of the most important things in a film. I love films, and one of the things that I love about is that they're beautiful. So thank you so very much.
Entonces ya saben, si el día de la entrega su obra resiste el fuego, obtendrán su paga. De lo contrario, tendrán que responder por ella.
2 minutos.
Mi amor, ¿cómo te fue hoy? Celebro tu cumpleaños, tan pronto vi asomar el sol. Y en este día glorioso pido tu dicha al Señor.
Porque lo he considerado como el regalo mejor. Quieres celebrar el día que el Señor te dio a un papá como yo. Celebro tu Karate Kid. Es que le gustaba, mira cómo es que le gustaba a Adrián. Dile, Karate Kid. Celebro tu cumpleaños tan pronto. Adrián, tú estás odioso, carajo. Y tú todavía sigues con esa vaina de la actuación.
Claro, pero tú sabes que eso es lo que a él le gusta.
Ay, por Dios, ¿qué le va a gustar a tu hijo? Tú no sabes nada. No, Adrián, yo pensaba que esa vaina era como una especie como se llama, de un hobby. ¿Tú sabías? En un hombre de verdad.
Carlos.
Es verdad, sí. Pero óyeme una cosa. ¿Dónde tú vas? ¿Dónde tú?
Déjalo.
Respeta. Óyeme una cosa. Te tienes que convertir en un hombre de verdad.
Déjalo, Carlos.
Está bien. Si le gusta tanto
Ya, por
actuar,
favor,
que de vez en
por
cuando
favor, Carlos.
haga algo, que picotee, que haga una cosa de esas, pero...
Por favor.
Óyeme, por eso, yo lo que estoy haciendo es algo para ayudar a tu hijo.
¿Ayudando de qué?
¿Todo bien, mi hijo?
Ayuda a tu mamá.
La verdad es que nosotros somos una mierda para ti. Yo trato de entenderte, pero ¿qué es lo que tú estás haciendo? A ti no te interesa nada que no tenga que ver contigo. Tú no te imaginas lo difícil que fue para mí que tú seas el villano de mi vida. Yo te tenía tanto miedo cuando tú estabas borracho. Yo ni siquiera sentía que podía confiar en ti. Yo lloraba en el asiento de atrás del carro cuando tú ibas manejando, rogándole a Dios que no nos matemos por tu culpa, pidiéndole 1000 veces que mami te dejara y me llevara con ella. Yo sentía más miedo que amor por ti. Una persona que se supone que es mi ejemplo a seguir. Mi miedo más grande en esta vida es convertirme en una persona como tú.
Yo sé que yo no fui el papá que tú querías.
Tú siempre estás buscando excusas. Yo no me creo en nada de lo que tú me tengas que decir.
¡Ganaste, ganaste! Dile a mami. Yo sé que yo no fui un buen papá. Porque te fallé en muchísimas cosas y prácticamente yo nunca tuve para ti. O porque estaba trabajando o porque estaba bebiendo. Adrián. Cada vez que me emborrachaba te prometía que no iba a volver a hacerlo y al otro día volvía a la misma mierda. Porque en esta familia se aprende a bailar. Y se da una vuelta a sí mismo. Se da una vuelta. ¡Eso! Pensé que podía compensarlo con un buen plato de comida, un techo y una buena educación. Pero lo más importante, yo sé que te fallé. Porque yo me convertí en eso, en lo cual yo debía de protegerte. Y tú solamente sentías vergüenza en vez de orgullo. Miedo en vez de confianza. Tú tienes 1000 razones para odiarme, mijo, y tú no tienes la culpa. Yo no fui un papá que creó una relación con su hijo y eso yo nunca me lo voy a perdonar. ¿Cómo tú pudiste soportarme?
Hi, I'm Rudea. I'm a writer, director, and sound designer of Pacing the Pool. Thank you so much for the Best Short Documentary Award for our film. We're really honored to be receiving this. I have a lot of thank yous to get through, so please bear with me. First, thank you to Revelation Film Festival, City of Vincent, our sponsors and supporters, for the opportunity to create the film. Huge thank you to our amazing crew who made it all possible. EP Ashley, producer JJ, our incredible DOP Justice who smashed it out of the park with our great camera crew, Bailey, Gareth, Matt, Max, Luke, Marcus. Huge thank you to Holly, to Cal, Emma, Zach. It was amazing to work with all of you. Thank you to BD Park for allowing us to shoot there. And of course, a huge thank you to Richard Pace and his incredible, beautiful family. Thank you so much for your time and for allowing us to capture and share your story. And yeah, thank you to everyone involved in the 21 Islands International Short Film Festival for this great opportunity. Thanks so much.
One of the jewels of the city of Vincent, the BT Park Leisure Centre was built in 1962 for the Commonwealth Games, where the legendary Murray Rose and Dawn Fraser won 8 gold between them. Champions, legends, and royalty have graced the park, including current-day local heroes. One of many millions who have swum her waters over the years is Richard Pace.
I'm Richard Pace. I'm married. I'm a father of 2. I'm a grandfather of 4. Married for nearly 40 years. I've had a very interesting life with a lot of challenges, and I've had the greatest adventure anyone could ever have. BT Park has been a part of my life for a long time. The pool itself has changed my life and the quality of life that I've been able to have by going there. I'm 64. You know, that's nearly 30 years since I was supposed to be in a wheelchair. And that's only, in my view, because I'm in the pool every day. I was diagnosed with polyostotic fibrous dysplasia. It's a bone disease. It's in the right-hand side of my body. What was it like? I was 4. I didn't know, except it was really scary when I looked into my parents' eyes when I was going into surgery. I can remember going under as a little kid of 4 and 5, getting a needle and not expecting to wake up from it. I didn't really understand it. I have vivid memories of that when I was very young. I was an ethnic kid. I was very small. I wore big glasses. I always say I used to wear Coke bottles on my eyes. They were that thick. And from early ages, I remember getting my glasses taken off me and smashed. I didn't have a lot of friends. You know, so my school life wasn't very happy. And I didn't belong, if you know what I mean. When I was young, I missed out on everything. I watched the world. I didn't participate in it, which was also very challenging. It was lonely.
He was born with a bone disease and he has no control over it. But he said to me, he believes deeply that he created it, because he said if he created it, then he has the ability to be able to fix it.
I've had, in my lifetime, between 80 and 100 surgeries.
We got married in February 1983, and in August 1982, he had big major surgery to his hip, and he had a cast from here down to his knees,
I spoke to my specialist at the time and said, will I get better or something, I can't remember. And I remember the message he gave me is, look, you've had a really good run. You know, I think it's time you got used to being in a wheelchair.
I think that he was exhausting things that he'd done previously and wasn't getting a whole lot better. Convinced him to go to Beatty Park. And I think very quickly he probably realised the benefits. So he's been doing it ever since.
I started feeling something that I never felt before. It wasn't immediate, but it was a feeling of well-being. It was a feeling of strength and physical wellness. Something that I didn't feel when I was young. When I'm in the water, I feel focused on swimming, nothing else. It's almost like meditation when all you've got is a line, yourself, and you're counting the laps. I quite often say that I get into the pool every morning and I feel awful, you're out of bed, you fight yourself to get out, but I've never felt bad when I got out of the pool. The people that I mix with, my pool family, it's evolved into some great friends of mine and have a lot of laughs and a lot of fun too, so it's a great way to start the day for me.
And he surfaces suddenly up beside us like a spouting whale.
He's very funny.
Oh, his dolphin move, you mean? Oh, look, it really is annoying.
Well, I call him a dugong.
He thinks he's good, so we just allow him to think he's good. Yeah, that's about Richard in a nutshell. He thinks he's good.
There's such a great community in the morning in the pool. And you know that I'm probably the rudest person you've ever met. And I say the rudest things to people down there and they give it back to me, and every one of us will do anything for each other. So I meet some great people and, you know, and all walks of life. I'm still walking, okay? People will say you call that walking, but I'm still getting around on two legs in some manner, and I keep expecting to. Living is hard. Doesn't matter, okay, I've got a story, everyone out there's got a story. I hope that people will look at my story and say, wow, I mean, there is hope for me. I just have to persevere. And everyone can. If I can, everyone can. Everyone has problems. The only difference between everyone and me is you can see mine.
Hello, my name's Andy Clark. I'm the writer-director of the short film Heady. I just want to say a huge thank you to 21 Islands Film Festival for the award. Really, really honoured. It's amazing. I just want to thank a few people who were involved in the making of the short. First of all, my two kids, Oscar and Sophie, who Sophie played the main part and my son played the robot, albeit in a motion capture suit. and then Megan and Patzer, who played the other two characters. All the crew who were amazing, especially Miguel, the DOP, Jenna Whelan, the composer, who composed a beautiful score for us, and Al O'Connell, who did some of the original tracks as well. Joe Fallover, the amazing production designer, who built the practical version of the little robot, who's sitting over there somewhere. Niamh Buckley, who did the costumes, Julie Caulfield, who did hair and makeup, everyone in Outer Limits and Ray Gunn, post-production, Matt Darcy, the producer, and Emma Scott and Jill McGregor, and everyone at Screen Ireland as well. Thank you to everyone, and thank you to 21 Islands for the award. Thank you so much. Honoured.
What are you up to? Next time I see you here, I'm gonna drag you straight to the police. I have you on camera. Ah.
Yes. And we're back. Come on, let's get away. I thought you were busted for good back there.
Where did you find a replacement Arduino board anyway?
Same place to find the rest of your junk?
I thought the dude who worked there was out to end you.
Yeah, he is, but he's so slow he couldn't catch a cold. You sure you're all back to normal? Memory card all good?
Let me check. Just messing with you.
That's not funny. That memory card is everything. It's all we have.
Relax.
I'd like to see you dance without it. Stay there. It's just a cat.
Oh, did you think it was that junkyard guy? He'll never find us here. Night, Eddie.
You have a lion. I'll go get us some breakfast.
Look what I found.
Where is it? Where did you put it, my brother? My brother.
What's going on here?
My brother, he's gone. I don't know what he's gone. Where is he? Where?
Calm down for a second. Who are you talking about? I don't know what you're talking about. I didn't. Come on in, Richard. Okay, come on in. Come on in. Right, now calm yourself down. Sit down there. I'll get you a glass of water. What's your name again?
Hetty?
Oh, Hetty. And tell me about this brother of yours. What's he look like?
I'm sorry. I was just trying to level the playing field, you know. This used to be all my patch until you came along. I thought he was just a gimmick, you know.
Gimmick?
No!
for joining us here on Bronx Film Wednesdays. I just want to give a shout out to Melissa Ramos. She is the director and the producer of this program, and she's always behind the scenes. And finally, we're together on camera. Muchas gracias, Melissa, por todo.
Thank you so much.
Of course. And we'll see you next time here on Bronx Film Wednesdays.